What experience is impossible to really understand until it happens to you? Traumatic brain injury. Mine is about as mild as they get, but it really sucks. You know how you feel after studying for finals for 12 hours straight, and you just can't think anymore? That is how I feel all of the time. I want to write, I have a gift for it, but I can't organize the thoughts into a coherent article or essay. I suck at my job. I live with my parents because I can't keep a budget or a schedule or even keep my room clean. I can't even tell you how badly it sucks, and I've been feeling really down about it today, so it feels good to be able to tell someone, even if it's just a dumb Reddit comment. Lucid dreaming. People who have never had one just can't imagine how you can know you're in a dream, control your actions and yet not wake up. You can even control when you wake up, which is pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. Bereavement. Until it happens to you, you can sympathize and get on with your life. It's only when you experience it, you understand the impact. I always thought it was an exaggeration when people say they still think of someone every day long after they are gone. My best friend died about 50 years too young 6 months ago, and he still creeps into my thoughts constantly. Having your heart broken. Maybe you've been in a relationship with them for years. Maybe you've just been working up the courage to ask them out. But that moment when you realize you're the only one that feels this way and they're more interested in other people is just absolutely crushing. Feeling like your heart has dropped down to your stomach and you can't breathe without your chest feeling compacted. Feeling numb but then breaking down in tears at night. Yeah, it sucks. Living alone. For a long time, I've lived alone my whole life. Friends think how great it must be, having the house to myself, free to do whatever I want, etc. Sure, they'd like it for the first few weeks, but it gets old. Coming home after work to a silent empty house, spending the evenings in total silence, finally going to bed, going for hours every night without actually speaking a single word. My relatives think I'm a TV addict because I keep it on constantly, but I rarely actually watch it. And then the weeks turn into months, and the months into years, and finally decades of night after night completely alone. You simply cannot understand what it's like until you've experienced it. I completely believe human beings were not meant to live alone. Get a puppy. Poverty. People can be such dongs about it but only truly understand when they have been in that position. Grateful to have gone through it so that I can be compassionate. A quote that has stuck with me over the years. Poverty and pride are devoted blood brothers until one, always and inevitably, kills the other. Getting hit by a car. I just watch those idiots walk out into traffic because they have the right of way. Yeah, that doesn't stop someone drunk or texting behind the wheel from plowing into you. We have a saying in the motorcycle world, you may have the right of way, but you sure as heck don't have the right of weight. Abusive relationships. I never thought I'd be that girl because I couldn't understand how someone could let themselves be treated like crap. And then I did it for a guy I loved, a guy who was great the rest of the time. Looking back, I think about everything I put up with and I can't even believe it. You recognized it and left. That takes a lot of strength and courage. Sometimes you are so close to a situation that you lose perspective. I hope things are much better for you now. Falling in love. I always thought some people moved insanely fast in relationships and never understood how they do it until I met the girl I'm dating now. Conversely, falling out of love. Hopelessness. The feeling that no matter how much you try and how far you've come that you still can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I get this. Also the feeling of understanding when you realize that no matter what you do in that given situation, you're essentially dumping a drop of water at a time into a container the size of an ocean, expecting to fill it while the container has a leak. It's sobering and maddening. Even worse is when those around you have come to essentially the same conclusion. Meltdowns caused by the little things. No big problem in life, but too many small ones, and people tell you it's not that bad but it makes you want to slit your wrists in the bathtub. When the last straw finally happens and people are thinking you're emotionally crippled over the ravioli exploding in the microwave. Being truly and rightfully scared. It's easy to think people should just man up and get over it until you find yourself jumping at every little thing. After I got mugged at gunpoint, everyone had immediate words about what I should have done. from running away to doing a spinning kick to their heads. It's one of those situations that you're completely panicked, hyper aware that these could be your final thoughts and words. I was frozen. People with stutters, speech impediments, etc. To you it might sound foreign, but to the person speaking it sounds normal, which makes being made fun of all the more harder. To you it might sound foreign, but to the person speaking it sounds normal. Not for everyone. It sounds foreign for me, because I know that it's the wrong pronunciation. A broken heart. I never understood why people couldn't move on from someone who no longer loved them. It took a long time for it to happen to me. It's pretty much the same process as grieving a death. Depending on how close you were to that person, it can take a long time to truly get over. Smelling rotting human flesh. I don't know how to describe it. It just smells distinct and bad and gets stuck in your nose, and then you smell it all day. Smell of death in general. My grandfather was a butcher. Still remember the smell of his killing shack. Can't remember English word. In Dutch it's slachthuis. He died 30 years ago and I still sometimes recall that smell for no reason whatsoever. OCD. It's not a tee I need to have my pencils lined up. I'm so OCD it's frick if I don't touch that doorknob until it feels right I might end up in a horrible accident. Or when I'm driving, did I hit a person? I think I hit a person. No, I would know if I hit a person. But what if I hit a person and didn't remember? Should I call the police to make sure I didn't hit a person, or they? I don't have the horrible accident feeling, but more I have to keep doing this until it feels right, otherwise I can't continue with any other activity. You can't really comprehend the complex blizzard of emotions of having a parent die until it happens. Even then, frick is it hard to navigate. For me, it was like losing one corner of the foundation of the house of my life. I'm a grown butt adult, but I still felt like my security blanket had been yanked away and destroyed against my will. Losing your parents. Not just the losing part. People in general are sympathetic to that scenario and tend to be supportive. The part of the experience that they really don't understand is that eventually, you'll get over it, and for some reason, they tend to find that part really offensive if you're frank about it. Having an irrational fear. It's horrible. I keep telling myself there's no reason to be scared. The spider, even if it tried, would not be able to harm me. There's literally nothing it can do to affect my life except scaring me. I gather courage for so long. I repeat it to myself how silly it is. How there is no reason to be scared. I know I shouldn't be scared. There is nothing to fear. And then I encounter a spider and just break down. People just tell me it's not that scary or it's harmless. But I already know this. I tell this to myself all the time, but I can't help the complete loss of my thoughts and extreme need to get away whenever I encounter one. The breakdowns. I don't think this is something that is easy to understand looking from the outside. I totally get this. My fear is that the bathtub is going to collapse through the floor while I'm in it, leaving my naked butt impaled on a support beam. Feel free to laugh, I know exactly how ridiculous it sounds. Addiction. Everyone assumes that it can't happen to them. Trust me, it can happen to anyone. Addicts are just regular people like anyone else. People need to consider that before they talk down to or about addicts of all kinds. As someone who has had many addictive tendencies over the years, I can't say that I believe this. I think some of us are more predisposed to addictions, and there are people that just do not have what it takes to be an addict, so to speak. Having autism. It's especially difficult if you're high functioning like I am, because one second you're having a normal, complex conversation because you're comfortable with the person and there's no one else there. The next second you shut down because someone you're not comfortable with walks in. It looks fake. I know it must. It's embarrassing. Imagine how you felt in high school. Hormones surging. Awkward. Unsure. Asking out that girl a mile out of your league. That's what an autistic person feels multiple times a day. Losing pretty much everything. A few months ago, I took a medication which I had an adverse reaction to. I went from a 4.0 student in college with a beautiful girlfriend and an internship planned for this summer with a company I've dreamt of working for, to being hospitalized for an attempted suicide. I spent about a month in the hospital, taking medication, and was diagnosed with anxiety. Luckily I got medication which worked, Sadly, I dropped out of college and my girlfriend broke up with me. The internship is over too. I'm now living at home with my parents for the first time in years, working towards recovery mentally and physically. I have a job at a movie theater and am taking classes at the local community college. And, you know what? I'm happier than I have ever been in my entire life. I'm doing things that I've always wanted to do. I realized that the girl who broke up with me when I was sick and in the hospital was a total B who I was dating for the status. I realized that the major I was going for in college was entirely for the money and not because I loved it. I realized that the company I got an internship with was a lousy company who takes money from innocent people. I've rethought what makes me happy and, as part of my recovery, decided to emphasize those things. My two main passions in life are movies and writing. And I've started writing every day and watching movies that I've wanted to watch for years but never seemed to have the time. I'm taking classes in writing, history, philosophy, and the humanities, and they are so interesting I can't even explain. And I absolutely love my job at the movie theater. It's simple work, long hours but good pay, and I'm able to make money to save until I return to college. Best of all, I met a girl, a happy, beautiful, authentic girl who loves me for me and makes me a better person. Being with her makes me feel better than anything else in the entire world. I couldn't be more blessed. And, I figure, if this wouldn't have happened to me, life would be a lot different. I would be in a relationship with a girl who didn't love me and would have a career I wouldn't enjoy. Truly, I would be living an empty, worthless life based on money and status. Coming that close to death, I have a newfound outlook and appreciation for my entire life. Now, my life is based on experiences and love. Being in the moment, loving every minute. In losing everything I had wanted, I gained everything I could have ever dreamed. You Zen mother, good on ya. Hope everything keeps going up for ya. Chronic pain. It don't even have to be high on the pain scale. Just a persistent aggravation will do the trick. A nagging reminder that you cannot experience normality. We've all been painfully bruised or had a stinging hangnail or sprained our ankle. Now take this pain and make it never go away. It starts to affect you mentally and emotionally. When you suffer agony over normal bodily movement, its magnitude's worse. I don't mean, ouch, that smarts, I mean drop to your knees and weep. Shrivel up over something lightly touching you in the right spot. I experience a constant 4 that hits about 6 to 8 when I move or am touched, and gets turned up to 11 if I'm prodded in the right spot. The fabric brushing against me is painful. People think it's just bitching and moaning, but they don't know this heck. My typical mood is angry. I knew a guy that said he seriously wanted to chop his hand off, and I totally believe him. Jamming with friends. Anyone ever get goosebumps? A slight chill and a flushed face when they hear a certain song riff lyric? Actually playing the instruments with each other will fill you with that feeling and linger for a bit after. It's honestly addicting AF. Being blind. I went completely blind for 3 hours following a concussion. Fortunately, I regained my vision after anti-inflammatory meds were given to me, but for 3 hours, total and complete blindness was a pretty foreign sensation. Experiencing death firsthand, like seeing, or in my case, hearing, someone die. Ever since that moment, every time I hear of someone dying, I think of that moment. Death was never really real to me until that day. Completely changed the way I view life. Abusive parents. A great many people are all everyone's parents yell sometimes if I tell them about my upbringing in that sort of standoffish, don't want to overshare kind of a way. Way to be dismissive, guys. Domestic violence. You can quote statistics, donate to charities and in general support the victims of domestic violence, but unless you've been a victim you can never even begin to imagine what it's like. Your help is appreciated and acknowledged, of course. Starving. Having no money to eat, just waiting and waiting. You go out to the store and hope no one notices you walk out with that loaf of bread without paying. You sit down at a restaurant, eat your food, go to the toilet for 10 minutes, walk out and hope no one catches you without paying. You're in your home, just staring at the ceiling in your bed, wondering what you're going to do for the rest of the week with just a loaf of bread. You decide to eat only 1 slice a day. You spend the rest of the day sleeping as long as possible, hoping you forget about your hunger in the dreams. Self-injury. Everybody can do it, but the feeling you get from it only happens if you did it instinctively the first time. I find this so strange. I was 10 my first time and I had never heard of someone doing this. I just wanted to. What a weird instinct. Postpartum depression. This crap is horrible. Imagine being around your child and not being able to hold them without some voice in your head telling you to harm your baby. I still don't understand how some moms with postpartum do harm their babies. However, I know what they went through before doing it. I wish we talked more about it so people would seek help and not feel like they are crazy. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.